Since March, when the COVID pandemic began and people were forced inside their homes, experts say that they expected an increase in calls related to domestic violence, but now they say the numbers are almost too much to bear.
These are perilous, perilous times for people who are in dangerous relationships and are utterly isolated.
Since the start of the coronavirus pandemic, domestic violence shelters like the Interval House in Hartford have seen a large increase in the need for victim support.
We've seen an increase of 58% in the number of contacts we've had, which has resulted in an increase in 25% more victims that we are working with.
In New Britain, the Prudence Crandall Center also reporting an increase. The center says it received a 54% increase in domestic violence-related calls. In June and July, the center nearly tripled its intake of people compared to last year. Barbara Damon says it's their mission to help, but the need has put a financial strain on operations.
We're going to respond to everyone in need, and we're going to provide safety and a safe option for everyone who reaches out to us. And the only way we've been able to do that, to keep up with the demand, has been by using hotel rooms.
Since the pandemic began, Prudence Crandall says it's spent around $70,000 on hotel rooms and meals, with $30,000 in August alone.
That unprecedented cost has really removed that firm foundation for us and really created a situation where we were the ones stepping up to help in the crisis, and now we're in crisis ourselves.
Thursday, Congressman John Larson announced a $1 million federal grant to fund Connecticut programs to stop domestic incidents. Larson's office said the money would go to the Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Violence Abuse and the Connecticut Alliance to End Sexual Violence, both who competed for the grants. Experts say besides these programs and money, communication is key.
You do not have to be an expert in domestic violence to be helpful. Just stay connected.
Donations are being accepted by both the Prudence Crandall Center and the Interval House. If you would like to donate, click on this story inside the Fox 61 mobile app or website. In Hartford, Brian Ditlake, Fox 61 News.